what's going on, you guys? Rasathiat here in Singapore, and as always, thank you so much for joining me on the Night Owl podcast. I don't know how you came across this podcast, and I'm not really worried about it. I'm just glad you're here. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for keeping up. It's been a long journey, and I'm far from done as of yet. I still have plenty to say and plenty to talk about, and if you have any questions or concerns or things you want to discuss, please let me know, because I'm always up for it. So today I was just having a conversation with somebody, and they kept bringing up the fact that, man, but people have something to say. No matter what you do, they have something to say. And I know all of us have had that experience as well. So let's talk about that for a minute, because in my experience, the people who have the most to say are the people who aren't really venturing out of their comfort zone. They're not really putting themselves out there. They're not really trying anything new at life, because if they were, they'd know exactly what it means to put yourself out there, to offer up a piece of yourself that you've kept hidden or kept quiet or kept private to yourself. So for you to be able to put it out there on social media, or even tell the world about it in some small way, means that you're opening yourself up for criticism and for feedback, or for some person out there in a corner to comment on the way you're doing things and whether it's correct for you or not. The problem being that no matter what you do, someone's going to say something. So whether you do your makeup, and it's dewy and natural looking, or it's very, very colorful and exotic looking, somebody's going to have to say something. You know what? Somebody's going to say something. Whether it's having a child, right? And you decide to raise them and you spare the rod and you try really hard to discipline them in a different way, somebody's going to have something to say about that. And if you are old fashioned and you decide to do what your parents did and beat your kids or yell and scream at your kids, and you just fall into these habits somehow, and you're doing the best you can because you really don't know a different way yet, somebody's going to have something to say about it. Whether you choose to breastfeed or not, whether you choose to become vegan or not, somebody's going to have something to say. Why? Because they can. So here's what I've been trying my very best to teach my daughter. You better love your decisions, because no matter what you do, somebody's going to have something to say about it. If you decide to go out in a miniskirt versus a very long, well-covered outfit, someone's going to have something to say about it. Whether you leave your hair down or you put your hair up, whether you braid your hair, whether you leave it out in an afro, it doesn't matter. Somebody's going to have something to say about it. So bottom line is, if you don't love your decisions, if you're doing it for someone else, you're going to feel like shit, on top of the fact that you have to deal with these people that have something to say. So I had a tough time with this. A lot of my life was spent in pleasing people. I think I've mentioned this in a different episode somewhere else. People pleasing was a thing for me, okay? I was convinced that I could make everybody around me happy if I would just take myself off the list. Not a good trial and error situation, because eventually I did fall apart and I couldn't keep it up. It was not sustainable as an action or a habit. But what ends up happening is, when I had my baby girl, I had to decide how I wanted to raise her. I did not want her raised in pink and frills, because that's not the girl I was. I wanted her to decide for herself what kind of girl she was going to be. So I left it wide open. I let her be in shorts and shirts and all kinds of colors, as many colors as I could find, because I didn't want her to be stuck in a specific color. And that isn't to say that when she decided she was obsessed with the color purple, that I wasn't going to allow her to wear purple. I would just find as many ways as I could to coordinate purple with other colors as well, because eventually I want her to not be stuck in her ways. I want her to be able to find a way to adjust, adapt, find a way to roll with the punches if anything happened to change all of a sudden. For example, when she first went to school, she was very excited that her house colors were purple. But by the second year of school, she was kind of sick and tired of purple and didn't want to wear any more purple anymore. So guess what? If I'd only bought purple for her like she had demanded, she'd have a really tough time adjusting to the fact that all she had in her wardrobe was purple. But I left it wide open. I helped her learn to adjust and accommodate. So that way, when people have something to say, she knows how to adjust. She knows how to roll with the punches. She knows what she could say that won't hurt the other person, but will allow her a little shred of dignity, because I think that's all we're looking for, right? A little bit of dignity in our daily lives. So that's one example, how I raised my daughter. Another example is the fact that how I became a step-parent. I wasn't sure. There's no manual for that stuff, let me tell you. There's no manual for being a parent. There's no manual for being an adult. There are some expectations out there, but how you do it and how my mom does it and how my brothers do it, completely different, okay? They were worlds apart. But the point being that they had a problem with the way I did things sometimes. The way my mom taught me to fold clothes is not the way I fold clothes today. I figured out my own way once I moved out of the house and had the freedom to discover a different way to do things. I'm kind of lazy. I'm going to do it as fast as possible, as easy as possible. I'm going to fold as few of the clothes as I absolutely have to. The rest I'm just going to throw in a drawer and call it a day. But my mom is one of those people who likes to iron all her clothes, make sure that they're, pressed and ready to go no matter what happens. And she has a lot of clothes, so she's constantly, ironing and washing and hanging and making sure everything's neat. I don't have that many clothes. A lot of my clothes are mix and match. And so what I do is what I need to fold and keep in a specific place, I will. My drawers are generally tidy, but then in the few areas of my life where it's a controlled mess, I know where exactly everything is, but that's not the way my mother would do it. But I found what works for me. And I wish that more people understood that this is definitely an option for you. You can find what works for you. And that's part of the reason I keep telling people, look, people will talk. It's what they do. It's our favorite pastime to complain about other people or jump into other people's business. Why? Because it's easier than facing our own crap. So if you have to deal with other people's voices and their commentary, the least you could do is make sure that you love what you've chosen for yourself. If you love every piece of an outfit that you chose to put on before you stepped out that door, I'm hoping that if somebody were to come and say, oh my gosh, that doesn't look so flattering on you, you would be able to find something about the outfit that you did like, that you can kind of take the focus off whatever it is that they pointed out, and you can go on about your day instead of having that make you feel some kind of way, trickle into the rest of your day, and then adjust your behavior and your attitude so that it kind of is projected on other people going forward. You see how that happens? It's kind of like a shit rolls downhill kind of effect. But the point being that people are going to talk no matter what. It is a cultural thing. It is socially acceptable to talk shit about everybody else. Why? Because it takes the focus off of you for a little bit. And so, yeah, gossiping is fun for some people, but what ends up happening is at some point or another, you're going to become the brunt of a joke, and you have to be okay with it somehow. You have to be able to go on with your day somehow. And that is why I keep telling people, you better love every damn decision you make, because no matter what you choose vanilla ice cream over chocolate, you choose Rocky Road over rum raisin, you choose cake with icing versus without icing, somebody's going to say something. And it's none of their business. But in order for you to maintain your happy little face and for you to go on enjoying that thing you chose for yourself, you better love the decision you made. So if you got any questions or comments, please come at me. Let me know. I don't care. I want to hear from you guys. But in the meantime, do you love your decisions? I sure hope you do. I'll get you on the next episode. Y'all take care.